Do you want to know the business model where dominating your local market makes you more profitable than any national competitors that you may face? Then you're in the right place. So are you competing with national chains that have deep pockets, way deeper pockets than you ever could have? Or are you individual solopreneurs like us, like with facing off against people blasting stuff out into the... Sorry, I'm trying not to call out Lenny, where they have like teams of people and they're just projecting stuff out on the internet. If you're frustrated and you can't compete on pricing with a broader market, then maybe you don't have to. That's the local leadership business model. So if you become so dominant in your local market that customers choose you over any national alternatives, which again, like now I feel like I'm talking directly about us here. If your local relationships and expertise create an advantage for you as a business, that's just untouchable. That's the local leadership business model.
I think it's a really powerful model myself, because as long as you have those relationships and you're engaged locally with your, not only your customers, but just the local market.
Yeah.
You're getting feedback, you're getting signals, and you're coming up with products that satisfy those needs.
Yeah.
You're going to prevail. And it's harder for someone else, a national brand, to break in because they're not even aware of the nuances of what's needed at the local level.
I'll give you a few that like everybody that's here in the South knows. Publix, like that's a regional brand, believe it or not. Actually, it used to be a Florida brand, but now it's a regional brand on the West Coast. In-N-Out Burger, I don't think they have In-N-Out Burgers here.
I haven't seen any.
Dutch Brothers Coffee, like those are all, they started as local chains. I mean, even Starbucks started as a local chain. They started as local chains, and everything I just listed has become a regional chain. But it doesn't even have to be that. It could be one city, just like we were talking about the podcast. It's like we on the podcast, we're more popular in Tampa, obviously, than we are anywhere else in the world, like by a long shot. You know what I mean? By like 75% or whatever. Other than Berlin. Like, thanks for everyone listening in Berlin. Yeah, where was I going? But the strengths of this model, that's where I think I was going to. The strengths of this model. The strength of this model is like, hey, like your community trusts you. It doesn't matter what community you have, especially with the podcast. Like people bending over backwards when you run a podcast to give you advice. Sure. And it all stinks. The advice that is good is like you need to build a community. It was sort of a little bit of the last model we talked about, but on top of that is like you need to build the community that you're selling to, quote, selling to. And if the community is here in Tampa, that should be easy for us. And then we know the businesses that are here, and we know the people that run the businesses here. So you can connect and have an intimacy that there's no way that like somebody from whatever regional, national, what is going to break in the middle of. They might replace it because they're super cheap or some other business model. Not going to erode that business model.
Used to be the mom and pop shops were like that, stores, right? Yeah. On the street corner. They knew everybody who went in there. But I mean, the other one is community banks. They know their customers very, very well. That's right. And they're thriving in a market where national banks may not be doing as well.
That's right. HEB in Texas was another one that's regional that I didn't take note of. But the other thing about your mom and pop stores or companies or whatever, consultants, whatever it is the company might pay more for that individual consultancy or that individual person than they would for a chain. I think about in software development, I think about the Accentures of the world or the TCSs of the world. Whereas like, yeah, I could get somebody for half the price to 2/3 of the price.
Right.
Or I can get somebody from my local consultancy that is here in Tampa that could occasionally come to my corporate office if I need them. And I'm willing to pay a premium for that.
That's a great example. Yeah, I agree.
So there's a trust factor there that kind of goes unspoken because there are weaknesses of this model. And exactly like the consultancies I just mentioned, the Accentures and the TCSs of the world, like, hey, the money drives everything.
Absolutely.
And, your people are good and everything, but at some point, got to get that every little last penny. Got to scrape them off the floorboards and look through the couch cushions.
Kind of segueing off that, you're also more vulnerable to fluctuations in the economy, right?
That's right.
If you're a local player only, I mean, you can really weather the storm as well as the national ones can.
I mean, it's the dependency on the economy being fair, let's say, at least fair in your area, but basically not taking downturn. I guess if the economy took a downturn in your area, that's when the shift would happen to be like, well, maybe I will go with TCS. And I know that it's a little less efficient and I get worse code and whatever and I'll have some problems. But hey, I'm spending, 60% of the money I was spending, and I'm willing to do that for a period of time, and then I bring some people in. Just like everyone using AI to replace their employees who are not using AI at all.
Other than just the price factor, it's also just having uncertainty that the local shop's not going to be around.
I can see that too. This is the old nobody got fired for going with IBM type
that's
of thing.
The same one, yes.
And then if you are the person running that local business, and this is your business model, it's knowing that at some point the local leadership business model will permeate. And there is a saturation point with this business model that could scare some people.
Yeah, growth challenges could include being able to recruit talent locally.
That's true. Talent acquisition could be a problem, depending on what market you're in.
Depends also if you're in a small place or a town versus a big city.
Also, yeah. So the local leadership business model, that's about dominating a geographic market through deep community relationships and local expertise. Another one we left out is like, well, it actually requires you to get out into your community. So this is an interesting one. I feel this one's like, the larger the company gets, the more underserved this model. The more, like, I think this is the way to sneak under big companies right here. Like 100% of the time.
Definitely agree.
If you have stories or questions about the local leadership business model, let us know in the comments.